Hello friends, foes, other watchers on the internet. My name is Matt, you're watching Hogwash Gaming, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Mothership Warden's Operational Manual, the work-in-progress version. I was sent this by the Kickstarter that I have been supporting, and they're working on getting this stuff out because it's been a year, and there's only a few of them, so they're working on hashing all this out before sending it out into the public, and I'm really looking forward to getting this in a physical copy. But it's a work in progress now. You'll see some typos here and there. I found one already, but yeah, we're not going to focus on those too much. Just want to warn you if you see things that are like, wait a minute, what this doesn't make any sense, because it's a work in progress. So let's just get started. First off, right off the bat, something that Tuesday Night Games does really well is making tables. And basically, you roll on this table and you can create the basis of an amazing scenario within like 5 seconds. It's super cool. Alright, and then you've got themes here as well that you can roll on a table and just get a theme and slap it on your adventure. Super fun. Alright, so getting started, first off, it has a content warning. This is a horror game, and as such, it can have some frightening stuff. So if you're a person who really does not do well with any kind of grimness or is liable to have adverse effects from being exposed to horror themes and spooky themes, then this is probably not the game for you. And this is what that content warning is about, so let's just go on. One thing I need to point out right away is the fact that this book is not designed primarily for people who are very familiar with the idea of rolling or playing an RPG, especially running one. This is for beginners, but I found a lot of useful stuff in here that I really like, and I will comment on them. I'm not going to get into too much of a focus here, but one thing that I really like is the fact that a lot of stuff they suggest I already do automatically, and it's nice to have a little bit of confirmation that I am doing the right thing. First off, just basically setting up the scenario, getting organized. That's a huge thing, and I always have a notebook that I write out the basic idea behind the scenario, what the scenario will be called, and what's going to be involved. So this is what this page is talking about. And just so you know, this is a PDF, but it's designed to be printed out. Not the PDF, but just the style is, here's a page, but because it's PDF, it'll be displayed like so, as I scroll down. So you'll see things that are split pages because they're designed so when you open up the book, you have both pages there. So anyway, that out of the way. So yeah, this is an example of how to get a mission kind of written down, and basically this session or this scenario kind of thing is going to be about like this space cult, and you're trying to save people from this space cult or try not to get indoctrinated or something like that. And this example runs through the book a little bit, so you'll be noticing things like a chapel situation and whatnot. So let's just keep going. Basically, it says invite friends, read the rule book, be familiar with the rules, and choose a starting scenario. And then this is more of that page on the other side, and just basically like what kind of trauma you've got going on, the social pressure. And then you got violent encounters, environmental hazards, resource scarcity. All of these aspects will increase the situation stress levels, so then it gets that very heavy feeling of horror, of like, we can't get out, we are trapped here, this is coming, we can't stop it, that kind of thing. Anyway, and then it's like solve and save. All of these ideas are going to be things that are going to be brought up later in the book. So one of the typos here is we got step 8 and step 8. We have no step 5, but we have 2 step 3s. Typos. All right. Anyway, let's get going. Choose a starting scenario. Basically, just gives you a whole bunch of ideas on how things work. And if you're struggling to find a setting, here's another table. You just roll a d10. Boom. There's where the adventure starts, takes place, whatever. That's your setting. Wonderful art. I love the art here. It's so spooky and creepy and gross. Now, here's a really nice thing. The Tuesday night games, they have examples of what they're talking about. And in this case, it's talking about like the progression of a horror game. First off, the idea is, these people found a little alien worm. Yay. Now, the Act 1, the transgression. This is what happens that awakens the horror. And then, so in this instance, this is a worm, a space worm, and it's spraying some like gross stuff all over this guy's face, which is like, oh dear, that happened. But what happens afterwards is the omens, and the omens are like the bad things that start happening when, or things that show, it's getting worse. Like in this instance, this guy's got like spikes and scales. What's happening? Something bad's happening because of the transgression. All right. Well, what happens next is the manifestation. The manifestation is the horror coming into its full glory and being really dangerous, and everyone's creeped out. And then you've got the banishment, where victory is achieved, which doesn't always have to happen in a horror game. Sometimes people just die. Sometimes that's the thing. But after the people have all died or the people have succeeded, the horror goes into slumber. And slumber doesn't mean that it's done. It means it's waiting for the next transgression. And that's pretty cool. I enjoy that. It gives you like this whole thing. You got like this wormy folk guy going rah, and then they've got that wormy folk thing burning, but in the corpse you've got another one of those wormy things that started this whole thing. So pretty fun. All right, and then they give you some things to make it easy to understand how to set up a horror game, and that's something to survive. And you got psychological, violent, and environmental hazards, as well as social pressures and resource scarcity. That's those things up here on this list as I scroll all the way up. Yeah. See, all of these things, boom, 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 are all in the same adventure. So there are different things that have to be overcome, which gives different people and players different roles, because one person might not be good at shooting the alien, but another person might be good at figuring out how to unlock the room with the spacesuits, and the other person might know how to turn on the spacesuits and program them. Stuff like that. So different hazards and challenges make different people with different skill sets a part of the team. Now, tactical considerations, this page is just a whole bunch of examples, and these are the definitions of those examples. So like high ground, one side is located high above the other and has advantage in attacking and defending. Boom, boom. This thing's up here. They're really having a hard time because it's on the high ground. Kinetic potential, which is objects in the area have the potential to deal a great amount of damage, radically changing the situation. These red barrels, the explosives. So anyway, I like the fact that they have this picture to give an example of everything that you can use to make encounters more interesting. All right, something to solve is just the mystery of the horror, because a lot of horror stuff is about mystery. A lot of it is like, what's going on? And as people are discovering what's going on, that's when it gets really scary, because they discover what's going on, and what's going on is really bad. And then you've got another table here, and just a lot of things that you can roll on to throw into your adventure, so you don't have to like ponder, how am I going to do this? You just roll on the table, and you'll have a few ideas to go with, which is really nice. This is just how to give clues in a way that people will enjoy interacting with your mystery, which is good, because nothing is worse than preparing a mystery and having people not care. Okay, so this is just talking about investigation and how to tell a good story. This is talking about characters that you can interact with, integrate into your game. Just a lot of ideas, and how to make them interact with your player characters. And this is yet another table that you can roll on to see just what kind of people you're dealing with. It's a fun little chart there. All right, so maps in Mothership are a little different than most RPGs that I've played, but I like the ease of the spreadsheet kind of setup. It's not like it's not fastidious. It's just, this is a room, and it can look like anything, and they don't have to be square, and they don't have to be this or that. And you, like down here with example 5, this room is inside the bigger room. So, there's a lot of little tips and tricks that you can use when drawing maps for your adventures. And what's nice is this is exactly how I do it. I have like different symbols for air vents, and different symbols for locked doors and stuff. I even do things where there are security cameras, and I show which way the security camera is pointing on the hallways and stuff. So that's going to be, it's kind of a fun little situation there. All right, and keying your map, of course, this is important. You can draw a map, but you have to have something that talks a little bit more about the rooms you have in the map. Like, okay, so you got room 2. So what's in room 2? Welcome center. This is where people do this, and shave heads of new students, give beige scrubs, mandatory 24-hour silence, center yourselves, dehumanization, that kind of thing. What's nice about this example, though, is it shows that this used to be called the chapel, but they changed the name. And that's the thing, when you're starting out, you'll have ideas, and sometimes you'll want to change those ideas up to make it something better. Like, you've got the education hall here, so that's kind of like the chapel there. The prayer room is also a chapel of sorts. You have these options. So anyway, tying it all together, make sure there's something for everyone. I talked about this a little before. It's just, if you've got a person who's all about shooting things, give them something to shoot. If you've got someone who's into researching things, give them something to research. If you've got Teamsters, give them something to fix or run or whatever. And androids, give them stuff that the others can't do, like breathing in a vacuum or underwater. Just give everyone a thing they can do. All right, so themes. That's just basically the little flavor that you put on top to give everything a nice little garnish there. And I know I'm using a lot of food analogies, but it's not the most important thing to what theme is this. It's about the pieces, and then the theme kind of holds all the pieces together very loosely and very nicely. All right, so what do we got next? Running your first session. Okay, so a lot of this book now goes into if you've never done this before, and it talks a lot about the social implications and aspects of being a warden, someone who runs this game, and just like the way you would do it. And I'm going to read this much more in depth. I'm going to read this over and over. Make sure everyone feels safe. Think of the game world as a real place, not as a video game. You're not looking for XP, not looking for like the red key or but that could be fun too. That could be fun. Just make sure that you're using all of this stuff. I'm not going to go through it all because they might change this book in a bit. So anyway, character creation. Yep. So what skills should they pick? What equipment should they buy? It's all stuff that the GM, you design the thing, and then the adventure, and then people start making characters for it, and you can help them out as far as like this might be useful, or this might be useful. This one, or this tool might not really come up, but you never know. So don't like railroad people into playing the way that you've designed the game, but definitely help them out if they don't know what they want to get. Just kind of list off some things, and if they say, oh, that sounds cool, they'll probably get it. All right, so real quick, let's hit up the Warden Supplies checklist. You don't need all of these things. I think the one thing that you kind of need the most out of this is probably the character sheets and the player survival guide and a notebook and dice. These are nice. Pen and paper, definitely nice. Props, maps, handouts, very nice. The module, I come up with my own scenarios and stuff, so I don't usually use a module, but modules can be nice if you don't have a lot of time to make up your whole story. I usually just throw it in the campaign notebook and have a running thing of what they're going to run into and stuff. I write my own adventures, but the modules are good. I enjoy the modules, and I base a lot of the stuff that I come up with on the modules. All right, so teaching the game. This is just basic advice on how to teach people how to play Mothership. What's different about Mothership, because it's not the same as other RPGs. And then it just shows you just basically like what order of things you should teach so like first teach them how the dice work in this game, because it's a little different than other RPGs, and I like it that way. And then stats and saves, and teaching stress and panic, and then explain the rest as you go, because that's how every game goes. All right, so safety instructions, here we go. We've already touched on this a bit, but Sean McCoy is very, very interested in making sure that everyone feels safe and secure and welcome. Yeah, important stuff. Everyone needs to feel safe. Now, I think one of the things that he's mentioning here is horror is one of the things. Horror is a spooky thing, and you're trying to, a lot of horror is about fear and dread, and you want people to feel that, but not in the way of like, I'm afraid to go to his house and play this game. It's more like, I'm afraid when I play this game because it's spooky and scary, not I'm afraid to play this game because the DM might hurt me, or I might get triggered, or something like that. And that's what Sean's trying to avoid, is making sure everyone feels safe, and hospitality is his main goal. And I think he's worded it very well here. And, depending on your point of view, it might be a little over the top. Some of the things he might say aren't exactly something that you're concerned with, but other people are. And, I don't agree with everybody on what's offensive and what isn't. But you know what? That's why we play games, to come together and have fun. And not not worry about how different we are, but how we can have something in common and enjoy each other's company. All right, Warden Etiquette is more on that kind of topic. Just kind of making sure that everyone knows that you're on the up and up, and that you're not a threatening person. Making sure that everyone knows that you are human and that you are honest and you are a friend. And that's the main thing with Warden Etiquette. And you're not trying to hurt people. You're just running a game that's a little spooky, and everyone's scared, and everyone enjoys being scared in this way. All right, how the game works, just basic run-throughs of just how being a warden, a DM, a GM works in these kinds of situations. You are just telling people how to play the game and what their characters are feeling and where they are, describing the situation. So taking good notes. I'm not very good at taking notes while playing. It distracts me. But I take mental notes, and I keep track of that kind of stuff, and I write down what I thought and whatnot. So this is like in past tense, so maybe this is what he's talking about, is keeping notes after a session, opposed to during a session, because I don't think I could do it during a session. Set stakes to the conflict, wait for them to commit, and resolve the action. This is all just how gameplay is. Now, this is just a quick example right here. This page here is talking about the tension levels during a game. And I think a lot of it is just comforting you if the tension in a situation goes down. Like if you're trying to run a horror game, and like the tension goes down for a bit, this is showing you that that's normal and it's good. You don't want it just mounting tension, mounting tension. For one thing, because it probably won't end up that way. Nobody wants to feel tense the whole time. So the natural order of things is someone's going to tell a joke and the tension will go away. And someone will order pizza and the tension will go away. And so it's a thing of just setting your expectations as, it can be tense, but don't expect it to be constantly growing or staying the same. It will go up and down. And so if it goes down, don't think that you're doing it wrong, because you aren't. This is just how the game rolls. All right, answering players' questions. This is just advice to GMs, wardens, whatever you want to call them, how to take care of your players, and giving them information that will help them and let them make good decisions. Technology, just kind of like how does it work in a game. Setting the stakes. And this is something that I've got to get better at, because there's more than just success or failure at stake. It's something that is going to come up very soon, actually, in this book, is when I see a player roll a failing roll, a roll that goes under the challenge rating, so to speak. I usually just say, you didn't succeed, which is valid, but it's not creative. And the more creative way to play it is you succeed, but something else happens. This is about agency, what your players are capable of doing, and making sure that they have choices and whatnot. Horror takes a little bit of the choices away, so it's a balancing beam. So just keep that in mind. When not to roll dice, when to roll dice. When stakes are low, you don't want to roll dice because there's no point. When stakes are high, make them roll the dice, because that makes it more dramatic. When it's obvious what would happen, opposed to when the outcome is uncertain. When they have the right tool versus when they don't have the right tool. when they have a good plan, when they have a bad plan, and then when that's what the player prefers. If the player's like, look, I really just want to roll a mechanics check or whatever, and just see what happens. And if you're the warden, just let them do that. Just let them do that. Okay, interpreting failure, this is what I was talking about. And they give a lot of examples, which is what I love, is sometimes you have these complex situations and the book doesn't explain. But this Tuesday Night Games, they give plenty of examples, and it really, really helps get that kind of thinking in your mind, so when you're actually playing, you can pull that kind of thought process out and apply it to what you're dealing with. So action fails and the situation gets much worse. Action succeeds but leaves the player at a tactical disadvantage. Action succeeds but causes harm. See, just different ways to interpret failure. All right. Making up house rules. Just basic GM advice on how to make it work, and staying consistent. Because if you're making house rules but they only apply half the time, that's not a good house rule. All right. Making good rulings, same thing. Same thing. You want to be consistent. Social encounters. So just basically telling how to run NPCs and characters that your player characters will run into. And this is violent encounters. So this is like combat and whatnot, and just how to play it in a way that makes it more exciting. Like, never say you miss. When someone attacks, something interesting happens. It doesn't matter if you miss or not, or if you hit or not. If you miss, don't say you miss. Say your bullet ricochets off the wall, and you hear a hissing noise. That could make it a little more interesting. Like, maybe the life support is going to fail in this room soon. Stuff like that. And then it just talks about death, how to deal with that. Ask what do you do. That's a huge RPG thing. Is just ask people what they are going to do that kicks them into gear. Running investigations. This is what we talked about earlier a bit, is just getting clues and having the situation something that they can deal with. Ship stuff like ship-to-ship combat, ship economics, really kind of fun things that other RPGs don't do a terrific job on explaining. And if I'm not mistaken, Mothership has had some rules for ship-to-ship combat and stuff before. I've never run it. It's a little complicated, and now that they are making the actual they're updating all of their books, it might change. So I'm not going to cover any of the ship-to-ship combat kind of stuff until these are printed out, first edition is official, and we're ready to go. All right, but cool stuff. I love this picture because, you start off, okay, you're scrolling down, right? You got this planet, and then you've got this throne, and then you've got this body, and you're like, whoa, what the heck? Who is this king of the moon? And then you scroll down, and it's a giant. These people are walking up, and it's like, oh my word, a space giant is lounging at the base of a throne, and they may or may not be dead because they are a space giant, not a human being, at least not a common human being. All right, building your campaign. This is more long form preparation, I guess. Very interesting. I'm not going to read a ton of it. I haven't read a lot, but you've got a whole bunch of types that you can go off of, and that could definitely be the method that you want to take. And they have, of course, examples, because that's what they do. It's what they do. It's just examples, and a lot of examples, and a lot of good examples. And I love the art too. The art is fantastic. All of these characters, I could make a character sheet with each one of these, and it would be super cool. Now this I love. I've never done this before. Making a space map and making it just be like, okay, these are what you have available to you, and this is a map on how to get there. And if you want to go from Adani to Olkova, then you have to go to way station 61B first. I love this map. This map opens my mind to a whole bunch of things, and I love it. All right, keeping going. Mapping your jump cluster. Once again, you've got the map, and then you've got a key, so you know what you're looking at. It's very good. And there's keying the map. There you go. How to create factions. I've never done this, but I definitely am interested in taking a closer look at a future date. PDFs are a little difficult for me to read most of the time, so having the physical copy will be nice. But yeah, I will definitely look into creating factions. And this looks kind of like a map. I think it's just this company is related to this company, and this company is related to this person, etc., etc. And corporate power will come into play there, and it looks pretty cool. All right, making a job board. I've done something like this before, but yeah, I'll have to take a look at work and stuff like that. Yeah, Mothership, I've never run into using money, because usually I do one-shots, and a lot of people die in Mothership. So they usually don't get a lot of pay because they usually die. All right, contract work, production and manufacturer, yeah, all sorts of work types. And then you've got your pay and your basic wage levels there. And then you've got different things that you're paid a little extra for: hazard pay, jump pay, and then the scale and the lifestyle associated with how you're working. And then another table here, and it looks like, let me see, credits. Yeah, I'll have to look at this, because the pay scale table, yeah, I'm guessing it. The table outlines a few different ways that jobs might pay. Okay, cool. So just, okay, I get it now. I get it. Yep. And then this is how you would have to live through it. Wow. Or after it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to take a closer look. It's kind of cool. And then you got economics, debt, securing the loans. I love it. I love this little thing. This is a horror game, not a small business simulator. Yeah, upper mobility is statistically impossible. I love it. Net worth, very fun. Consequences for non-payment. I love it. If bounty hunters are coming after you, it'd be great. All right, getting rich. Yeah, big money attracts big predators. Allies will suddenly need help. Old money hates new money. Yeah, it's okay to retire for now. Yep, I love it. I love it. Customizing your campaign, altering the difficulty. Skills are a wish list. New skills. Okay, one way to customize your game is to alter the skill list. If you're running a game about political intrigue on a desert planet, it might make sense to add skills for different factions. Rimwise, or, you know, that kind of stuff. I love it. I love it. House rules. for difficulty settings. All of these are great. Yes, all of these. I like this. This is just stuff that you can add to make it more difficult. I love it. All right, maintaining your campaign, you just keep notes. Keep notes. And have your players keep notes too. That's important. Using published modules help relieve a little bit of your prep, but they still need a little bit of work to really shine in an ongoing campaign. Yes. Yes, indeed. I would not disagree with that in the slightest. The modules are great, but they are not adventures by themselves. You have to give them a personal push. They're not going to tell themselves. You need to help them tell them. You need to help them tell the story. Yeah, skip time between events. Yeah, good stuff. Mixing it up. Yeah. Yeah, subgenres. What if they run away? They need to run away. Running away is a valid and legitimate strategy in horror. Yeah, paranormal, technological, body horror. Yeah, mutilation. Yeah. Yep, all this stuff. Good stuff. All right. Oh, and then it gives you a list of things to read that are spooky stories, and that will help you come up with ideas. And then telling a good story. This is basic storytelling advice. Questions are better than answers. Story only happens in retrospect. Always track the consequences. And then you've got a table for random lore. I love it. And then ending your campaign. I've ended one campaign in my life, and that was D&D, and it took 2 years of weekly playing to get to that point. So ending a campaign in Mothership, yeah, good luck. But that's just me being negative. No, I'm sure it's totally possible, but you're gonna go through a lot of characters. Anyway, so here's some more tables that just help you come up with things really easy. Planets, you just roll on this this thing like 4 times, so you get the surface type, the gravity size type, atmosphere type, and the climate type, and boom, you've got a planet in 4 rolls. I love it. Settlement locale. Yeah, all of this stuff is just great tables that are all D10s and D100s. So, yep, you got populations, you got present factions, you got control factions. Yeah, port class. And then you've got settlements, what they are, what their condition is, and what makes it a little spooky. So you just roll a D100 3 times, boom, 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 you've got a settlement. So fun. Terms of use. All right, so this is the big one. There is no official way to play because this game, A, is in development, but B, it's guidelines. And D&D is the same way. I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people think that when an RPG is written a certain way, that's the way it has to be played by every person at every time, and the rules can be twisted in such ways because they are written in such ways. But the only official way to play is the way that you decide to play at your table. So, yeah. Boom. The rules are easy. Yes. The rules are easy for Mothership. It's so much simpler to teach how to play than other systems. I've got to look at it again because I've read the physical copy of version 0.1 a lot, and I've got to read version 1 pretty soon, and it's still on PDF, and I just have a difficult time reading PDFs. So anyway, treat every monster like it's a boss monster. Yeah. Don't use a ton of monsters in Mothership. Build up the suspense, and then combat is devastating. So keep treat every monster as a big deal. Survive, solve, or save. Pick 2. Okay, so yeah. Yep. You can save all the people and solve the mystery, or you can survive the situation and save all the people and not have any idea what was going on, or you can survive and solve, but everyone dies that you were trying to save. You know, that makes for a very dramatic story. I like that. Think of every encounter as a completely unique problem. Yes, when in doubt, just give your players the odds, listen to their arguments, and then just say, okay, well, this is how it's going to work out, possibly. Make sure your players know what's on the line. Prioritize the safety and fun of your players. Again, we talked about this earlier. Don't worry about scaring anyone. Just relax and have fun with your friends. Yep, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. You're here to have fun, and it can be a little spooky, and no one needs to be scared. That's not why you're there. You're not trying to scare people. You're just having a spooky time together. And then only roll when absolutely necessary. Okay, that's a game style, I guess. And then they have this like a binding document, which I do not understand. I think it's just something to maybe harken back to like Alien or something, where you sign a contract and that's your soul. I don't know. But yeah, that's the book as it stands as of November 29th, 2022. I like it a lot. I think that with a minor tweaking, it'll be a fantastic addition. I don't think that it's for, like I said before, I don't think it's designed to be focused straight towards gamers that know exactly what they're doing. It's more for beginners, but I think it's a great book, and there are things that I will be using for years in this book. So keep up the good work, Sean, and yeah, definitely looking forward to having this in a physical copy and getting ready to go. Yep, keep up everything, and for all you viewers out there, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and if you're feeling super generous and want to see more of this stuff, consider supporting us on Patreon. Links all in the description. And until next time, this is Hogwash, over and out. Catch you later.